Okay, now there are actually different types of escalation that you can perform. And determining, again, which one you use really does or is determined by what it is you're trying to accomplish. So first we have what they refer to as vertical escalation. In vertical escalation, a user has administrative access to the computer when they shouldn't. We're moving up, right? This type of access allows the users to go through and do things like create user accounts, configure system settings, extract data that they wouldn't normally have access to. Now, this can be a potentially serious security flaw on the network, where a user who ends up getting administrative privileges through escalation has access to data throughout the network. Now, one of the ways that we can accomplish this, and it's one that's typically overlooked quite a bit, it's offline access. And trust me, this is going to kill you guys. Now, when I talk about offline access, I'm talking about typically looking at machines that may not be hooked up to the network at all times. Because if a laptop gets stolen, or if I'm able to compromise that laptop, I'm going to have all the time in the world because it's offline. And because of that, I can actually just use some simple exploits to give myself total control of this machine, which then hopefully when you hook it back in, I'll be able to continue my total domination. Okay, let me show you how easy and scary this is. Okay, so I'm going to get into my Windows 8.1 machine here. And I'm going to keep this windowed because I need to be able to mount up a CD. So it's just on my desktop here. I'm not going into full screen for a specific reason because you need to be able to see this. But we'll pretend like this is a full machine here running. And of course, it could be a virtual machine as well. It doesn't matter. You'll notice here that I've got a command prompt open, and I'm just going to do a simple, who am I? And you can see currently that I am just Bruce Wayne. And if we were to really drill into this box, let's right click on the start button and let's go here to computer management. And if I drill in here into local users and groups, and under my users, if I look at Bruce Wayne by double clicking on him and seeing who he's a member of, Bruce Wayne is a member of the administrators group, but we'll see here that Dick Grayson is not. Everybody with me so far? Okay, so let's say that, matter of fact, let's go ahead and exit this out. And let's go ahead and re-sign in as Dick Grayson. Okay, so now I'm logged in as Dick Grayson, and if I come in here and look at a command prompt, and I do again a who am I, you'll see that I'm Dick Grayson, and we know that Dick Grayson is not a member of the local admin's account. Well, let's see if we can fix that. Or let's say that I am Dick Grayson and I'd like to fix this. Well, I'm going to do something here. I'm going to come up here into my actions, and I'm going to pretend like I have a DVD here. Actually, it's not under actions. It's under my media, and I'm going to insert in a disk. Now, my ISO, or my DVD for Windows 8, is on this drive here, which is my U drive, and I'm going to go ahead. Oh, no, I'm not going to let you see my directory structure. So I'm going to pause the video for a second, and you'll see here that I've got, yeah, see, you're not going to see my whole structure. Here's my Windows 8.1 ISO that I used for installation. I'm going to go ahead and hit open. So now that's been mounted as my CD or as my DVD. So let's do something really fun. I'm going to make sure, again, I'm going to do this in my settings, and I'm going to make sure that when I boot, that I'm booting from CD first, and that's great, because that would be what I'd want to do. Is I'm going to, in the real world, if this was a physical machine, I would take either a bootable USB drive, or, and what I'm about to do, I could script out very, very quickly and very, very easy. But I'm going to go ahead and do a reboot of this box. So it goes into the CD. Now, when it does a restart, I'm going to click in here and then hit my space bar because it says to press any key to boot from CD or DVD. And don't be afraid. For a second, you'll lose control of your mouse, or it'll be limited just to that box. And so this is the standard boot up sequence for installing Windows 8. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and hit next. And I'm going to select, I'd like to repair my computer. Now, this particular escalation will work if I'm not using some type of encryption. That's why encrypting hard drives is so important. I'm going to come into troubleshooting, come into advanced options, and select, give me a command prompt, please. And we're going to come in here and I'm going to make the properties big, or make it so that you guys can actually read this. Make our font biggie size. And again, you know me and my Batman fetish. Got to have a little yellow in here. Okay, so I've got a command prompt. Now, all I have to do is type in Regedit, pulls up the registry editor, but this is the currently loaded registry. It's not really the registry of the computer. So I can make sure I have highlighted my HKey local machine and come up here and select to load a hive. And the hive I'd like to load is going to be located, in this case here, it'll be on my D drive, because the CD that I booted from is technically now my reserve drive, or that 300 megs that Microsoft always gives us. And so I'm going to go into the D drive, which becomes the C drive when you boot up normally. I'm going to select Windows, come down here into System 32. Whoops. And then I'm going to come down to Config. Hey, Dale, we talked about this earlier. Yeah. And in here is where the registry is stored. So I could say, please load up the system hive for me. And it says, well, we need a name for it, and you just call it, whatever. And here's my whatever hive. And you can see that I can come into my current control set of this machine. I can come in and look at services. I can modify the services if I need to. But my goal here is to escalate. I mean, this is just another way for me to mess around with the machine. Let's do the same thing though, but in this case here, let's bring in a different hive. I'm going to select again to bring in or load a hive, and this time I'm going to select software. I wonder what I could do with software. We're going to, again, give this hive a name, and we're just going to call it, I don't know, Superdale. There's the Superdale software hive, and when I expand it out, I can come into Microsoft, come down to Windows. I just hit the W key, and it takes me down to the W's. But I'm going to come down to Windows NT. Let's make this biggie size, or expand this all the way out. Come down to current version. I'm then going to come down here to the image file execution options. Now, folks, this is actually the internal operating system debugger location. So I'm going to create a new entry to basically trick the system into doing something that I want it to do. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and create a new key. And that key, I'm going to call it util man.exe. And you may be thinking, what's that, Dale? Why are you creating a key called that? Well, let me show you. I'm going to actually launch it on my local machine here, and I'll bring it up so you can see it. So it's the ease of access center, and you just heard it read while we scan this section. But this is where we have access to things like the narrator, contrast, magnifier. And what I'm doing is I'm saying, instead of launching this, or if there's a problem, I'd like to debug it. In order to debug it, I'm going to select not create a key, Dale. Come on, you dork. Let me get rid of that. And we're going to come over here on util man and create a new string. And it is just simply debugger. And then I'm going to specify what that string is, or its value, which is going to be cmd.exe. We'll hit OK. Okay, so now we'll go through and we'll go ahead and close down Regedit. And we'll go ahead and exit. And we're going to go ahead and continue into Windows 8, please. This time we're not going to hit a key. I'm going to go to log in, but instead of actually logging in as Dick Grayson, I'm going to come down, and this actually activates the ease of access, or utilmon. And if I click on it, I get a command prompt. I don't get the sticky keys because I'm telling it I'd like to debug it. So let's make this biggie size now. And again, we're going to change it. Whoa, don't want to do that. Want black background with some yellow Batman colors. And look up here in the title bar. Who am I logged in as? In fact, if I do a who am I'm actually have higher privileges than what I'm supposed to have at this point. Now hang on, we're not done yet. Okay, well, with this nifty little command prompt, let's see what we can do. First thing I'm going to do is let's see who's a local admin. I can do that by just using a standard net local group. And administrators. Oops, I spelled that wrong. And you'll notice here it shows me that both administrator and Bruce Wayne are admins. Now let's clear this real fast. And let's see what other damage we can do. Again, remember, I'm Dick Grayson. And I now know that there's a Bruce Wayne's account is in here as an administrator. And I could go through and change Bruce Wayne's password if I wanted to by doing a net user bwayne followed by the new password. but then Bruce Wayne's going to be up to what I'm doing. So instead, let's do something a little different. Let's do a net local group administrators, and let's take my account and let's just simply add it to that group. Now let's go look and see who's a member of the local admin group, and you'll notice now Dick Grayson is now a member. So now I should be able to exit this, log in as Dick Grayson, and now I have full rights to this box. Now there's another type of escalation that we can use, which is called horizontal escalation. And this is just simply where we use a different account with the same rights that we have to do what we want to do, but we get to lay the blame on them. And technically, I guess there's one more escalation type. It's called a de-escalation, which I think you can guess by its name. We're going to take rights away from a user.